Hey there everybody, welcome back into the kitchen. You know, it's December, it's that time of year when you start thinking about the people you love and getting them, you know, a little something to show how much you care. So I got myself a Mr. Beer Maker thing, because I've been looking at them for months anyway, and they kind of just showed up at the local liquor store, and I'm like, okay, you know what, it's a sign, I'm going to get it. I want to get started on brewing. Most of you are already aware of my desire to get moving with mead, but you know, this comes with beer, so we're starting with beer. Right, let's check it out. Mr. Beer Craft Beer Kit, Canadian Blond. I got it for a whopping $60. It was like $5 more than it would have been online, so to me that's worth it. Says it comes with everything I need. Let's open it up, find out. So here we have everything out of the box. Seems pretty straightforward. I got a good laugh at the 11 bottles that come with it. I'm sure it works out by volume, but still, to me 10 or 12 would have made more sense. It all fit pretty well in there. Some of them were stuffed inside the keg itself. Lots of fun. Got the caps, got the wort, spigot, brew booster, no rinse cleaner, and the carbonation drops. So this seems pretty straightforward. So you assemble this thing here, the spigot goes on the outside, the washer goes on the outside, work the nut from the inside there. Not necessarily a job for large fingered individuals, but it all worked out okay. It really stresses the do not over tighten, so hopefully I didn't crank that a little bit too hard. But now I need to check it for leaks and see if that drip is coming off the outside or is a leak. So, yeah, I'll get back to that. So next it goes off in detail about how I'm supposed to clean all this stuff. So I'll get on that. Looks like some two-handed stuff, much swirling of keg involved. And yeah, carrying on. Now it says to use half of the sanitizer here this time around and save the other half for when I do the bottles. So I've just kind of measured it out-ish that way. I'll cut the corner, mix it in here like it says. Put the rest of that aside nice and safe for doing the bottles later. And stir vigorously until completely dissolved. Alright. Still haven't got to the swirling bit yet, so I can still one-hand this. Kind of boring though. Now I guess I'm just supposed to drain all of this sanitizing solution into my mixing bowl with my utensils in it. Pretty straightforward. What it doesn't tell you is when you swirl it, you got a good chance of some moisture coming out of the cap. So, you know, be advised, those who might try this at home. This will take a minute or so. Alright, so in theory, I'm ready to start mixing this all up and brewing. Remove the yeast packet from under the lid. Pretty straightforward. Put the unopened can in hot tap water. Okay. Fill that sink up a little bit. Nice and hot, direct from the tap. Yay, I'm following instructions for a change. Who knew? And we'll just let that sit until it's called for again. Using the cleaned measuring cup, pour 4 cups of water into your 3-quart or larger cook pot. I'm not entirely sure this is a 3-quart cook pot, but I'm hoping because it's the biggest one we've got around. If a booster pack is included, I have a booster pack. Add slowly while stirring into the cool water until dissolved. Okay, bring water to a boil and remove from heat. This is all pretty straightforward so far. Alright, now I guess I just need to bring this to a boil and then remove it from heat before I go back to that can. Well, that looks like it's boiling to me. We'll just remove that from the heat. Dog's so contrary. Oh, steam. Alright, so I've gotten my can from the hot tap water here. Got it upside down because it's easier to cut through the bottom. The top is quite indented. And we'll just stir it all in here until it's thoroughly mixed and move on with the directions. Alright, now that our wort, whatever it is thoroughly mixed up, what's next here? Fill the fermenter with cold water to the line mark 1 on the back, which is right there. So, gives me a chance to give this a good smell. Doesn't quite smell like any beer I've had yet, but there's a long way to go between this and beer. So, yeah. Filling up the fermenter to the line marked 1. Then I need to carefully pour this into this little hole right there. Good times. 2 hands, off camera. Not bad, only spilled a little bit there. Vast majority of it's in there, ready to go. Where does that bring us to? About halfway between the 1 and 2. Alright, now I top this up and again, stir vigorously. So mix vigorously with spoon or whisk. I have issues with whisks, so spoon it is. Doesn't say for how long or until it reaches what consistency, but yeah, I'll give it another couple minutes and then we'll move on to adding the yeast. At which point I guess this is beginning its journey towards beer. Cool. Not terribly difficult. So next we dump in the entire yeast packet and do not stir. Bold letters and everything. Alright, in you go. Now do your job, little yeast. Now it's time to wait. Let's see, after a few days here, the foam and activity will subside. Batch will appear to be dormant. Leave it for 2 to 3 weeks to ensure the process is complete. Oh my. Do not open the lid anytime during the fermentation process. Well, so much for checking on it. Alright, so we'll be back to check on this in 3 weeks, I guess. And also at that 3-week point, I guess we'll be doing the carbonating and bottling process and or whatever clarifying is needed. Not entirely sure yet, but gotta hike this downstairs away from sunlight and stuff like that, where it'll maintain a fairly consistent temperature, 68 to 70 something it says. It's about 70 degrees downstairs, give or take, so that's where it's going. And down here in the dungeon it will sit. When the main lights are off, it's a little bit darker where this is at the moment. And I've kind of got the general hydroponics box there blocking a bit of the light. I might figure something else out a little later on, but that's where it sits for the next 3 weeks. What better place to leave it brewing than down in the dungeon though, right? To me that seems somewhat appropriate. So yeah, we'll check back on it in 3 weeks, take a quick flavor profile test, and find out what all is involved in bottling and carbonating this Mr. Beer homemade beer kit. It's been an interesting little adventure so far. I'm hoping this turns out for the best. I've seen a few fails and a lot of positives, so hopefully I'm one of the positives when it's all said and done. Alright, waiting is, we'll be back to this in 3 weeks. Take care, everybody.